Alright, how I've got this set up is my guitar plugged into the HX Stomp, and then I have the Iridium in a loop of the HX Stomp. And if you think that makes a difference because of the extra AD conversion, it doesn't, because if I was using a separate interface, then there would still be a conversion going into my DAW and then a conversion going out of the DAW and then back in, like a typical reamping setup. So this is as close as I could get to that type of setup. And if you don't buy that, well, then it should be easy for you to pick out which is which in these clips. I've got a link to the lossless version in the description, so check that out if you are the type of person who blames YouTube compression for not being able to tell which is which. Then I have an impulse response block so that I'm controlling for the cab, speaker, mic, and mic placement. So we're using the same speaker setup for each amp or for each unit. So I'm using one impulse response for both Deluxe Reverbs, one for both AC30s, and one for both Marshalls. And I'll list those in the description. If you're saying, wait a minute, the Iridium has 500 millisecond impulse responses, I'll have a link in the description explaining why that doesn't matter. But I will say that I found the default impulse responses on the Iridium to be terrible, but unlike on the HX Stomp, there's no way to tweak them. So I think to get the most out of the Iridium and with the HX Stomp, you need to use good third-party impulse responses. Then I've just got a little room reverb at the end. Each of these clips is in a different order, so it might be the HX Stomp first and then the Iridium second, and then it might be reversed on the next clip. So the point is to show that they can both be dialed in to sound the same, and one doesn't have obviously better amp modeling than the other, otherwise it'd be easy to pick out which is which. I'll write my thoughts about the amp modeling on both units in the description. They do sound different on their default settings and when all the knobs are at noon, and some were harder to get to sound the same than others, but I think this kind of shows that it's pretty obvious that sweeping claims of obvious superiority are, let's say, wildly overstated. So that's about it. Let's get started.